Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fourth Tiger Talk of the 45th International Film Festival, Rotterdam. We have just seen the world premiere of the film from USA, A Woman Apart by Elisabeth Subrin. But before we start talking about the film, I would like to invite the director of the festival, Bero Bayer, to explain us more about his choice. Please welcome Bero Bayer.
Hi, Ludmila.
Hi. Thank you for joining us again. We realize you are a very busy man. Please tell us what charmed you with this film. Why did you make this decision? At what point of your selection? Because we know this year you have only selected 8 films for competition.
Well, in the ideal world, I'd be waiting to have seen all the potential candidates and then make a decision.
Yep.
Together with the programmers and everybody that's championing these films. That's not always possible. Mm-hmm. So at a certain point, you just go with your feeling and you go with the humanity of a film. Mm-hmm. And if ever there's a film that shows a humanity of film, especially in a weird setting, it's this one. And when I say weird setting, I mean the weird fake world of recording a talk show in another chronologically, in another of playing with film, of playing with media, of television, and the role we all play in life. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, the film did something to me that I hope it will do to the audience, which is bring back that human element of the story behind the facade. Mm-hmm. It's always laced with a sense of tragedy. It's always laced with a sense of nostalgia. And in this case, it was performed in such exquisite manner, both in direction and acting that I just fell in love with the film. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Excellent, Maggie Sif. We agree with that. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to invite our 2 ladies to join us for a conversation.
You're quite amazing. Have fun.
Thank you so much. Bye. We have just seen in the world premiere a film from the USA, A Woman Apart, by the director Elisabeth Subrin. And I'm very happy that we have 2 our precious, beautiful ladies as guests here tonight, and I would like to introduce you to them. Please welcome the leading lady, Maggie Sif. And please welcome Elisabeth Subrin. Elisabeth is a New York-based award-winning filmmaker and video artist. Her work has screened and exhibited widely, including the New York Film Festival, the Biennale Film Festival, the Whitney Biennale, the European Media Arts Festival, the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and last but not least, twice in Rotterdam. Elisabeth, welcome back. It's a... Hello? Yeah. Okay.
Hello? Yeah. Are you on? I'm not sure. Oh, we are on.
Sorry? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I am.
I would like to just say a few words about the film, and then we will have a clip, and then we can start our conversation. The leading actress, Maggie, is playing Anna Baskin, actress in her 40s that is going through a personal and professional crisis. She's based in LA, and we see her going through her crisis there and then moving to New York. Let's have a look at one scene where we can very well see this crisis, and let's talk about that. Please give us clip number 1.
No!
Let me in. Come on.
I would just like to be heard out on some of these creative decisions.
We can't call a summit every time you have a problem with a scene. Anna, the whole crew is on set waiting for you.
I was thinking it might be interesting. What if we just reversed it?
Please, just let it go. That's just who she is.
What does that mean? How do we even know what she is? I mean, she's just somebody who gets shit dumped on her. The way she's been written this season, she's become a cipher. I mean, does she care about anything besides him? Yes, we get it. She's a workaholic. She has no personal life. Her friends are text messages. But she's not a real person. She's like a profession.
I know it may be a stretch for you, but I'm sure you can find something in her you can relate to.
You got your coffee still. And there's a shitload of typos.
I was wondering, why did you... Okay, I have two first questions. As a artist, the video artist, when did you decide actually that it's time, or when it's time for me to make a feature film? I'm ready for that. And why did you choose this subject of film and television industry? Have you any experience with it yourself?
Well, answering the first question, I made a series of experimental narratives, and all of them really dealt with single women characters, kind of in crisis, set against the backdrop of some sort of social, political crisis that was larger than them. I worked on another feature script for a long time that I brought to Cinemart, and it became way too expensive to make, and my producer convinced me to make a lower budget film, and I was trying to make an experimental version of my other film where I would have the protagonist be an actress about to be in the film, and then all the parts of the film could be like table readings and rehearsals. But the more and more I reworked my other script, I became obsessed with this character, and the old script went away. And I mean, I think I both, like, as someone in my 40s, a lot of what she goes through, I have been thinking about. And in terms of the television issue, I'm in the film industry, and as a feminist, especially in the United States, I have a lot of problems with the way women are represented in film and television, and it felt to me like a metaphor for larger issues of how people manufacture themselves and how they put on a fake persona. And so it went from both a portrait of a really interesting character in crisis to also a larger question about what does it mean to be authentic. So,
thank you. And at which moment did you find or meet Maggie? And what was her influence, if there was any, on the script or character development, maybe?
Well, you know, in the United States, there's like, with casting, there's always like these lists of names that they give you, and like, this person can do this and this can do that, and we looked at all these lists and nobody excited me. And then I remembered this character in Mad Men, this TV show that's an amazing TV show, and I remembered Maggie's character, and I got a little obsessed, and for 2 weeks I just read everything about her, and I just had a sense from her personality that came across in the press that this was somebody who had a very deep soul and who could really understand the character, and she just felt spiritually connected to the story. But also, she's someone who's been in 2 major TV series, Mad Men and then Sons of Anarchy. So she's gone through this journey herself, and so in terms of how we work together, like. I was very lucky because right when I met Maggie, she was pregnant, and so she was working less, which allowed me to like fly to LA and have long conversations. And you know, she was researched because I'm not an actress and I've never been on a TV show, and so Maggie's insights were just really important. And also, I just said this in an interview recently, but she really pushed me to make the character, like, there was ways I was protecting the character because I connected to it and I was protecting Maggie, and she really pushed me to make the character more complicated and more difficult in some ways. And so it's been a long collaboration. I mean, we talked about the film for a year and a half.
Yeah. So maybe you can tell us, Maggie, how was it for you where you sent a script and did you think, wow, this is an interesting role for me? Could you identify with the role, with the character?
Well, yes, definitely. I mean, interesting and also terrifying because although I'm not the character, she bears more resemblance to me than characters I usually play.
Okay.
So anytime you feel that convergence, I think it's very scary as an actor. And also, the fear that are people going to think this is me or this is my story, my perspective. That said, I felt kind of excited to try to open a window onto what it means to be an actor in a sensitive and artful way, and I trusted that that Elisabeth would. And I'm always obsessed as an actor with what it means to be revealing sort of the private public sphere. It's like to be a really good actor, you have to have a very private sense of your own interiority in space, and then you have to present that to the public. And it can be a very fraught experience depending on your personality type, depending on the kind of work you've done on yourself, how solid you are in your heart and soul. And this is a character who isn't solid, and so her world starts to crumble. And I wanted to tell that story a lot.
I think you were excellent in it. I mean, all the other actors were excellent as well, but I think you are really carrying the film the whole time. I mean, there is this leading role, this leading character, but we also have many other themes and subjects and personages, and it's, I think, to my feeling, the Maggie or Anna Baskin decides at a certain moment to leave LA behind and goes back to her youth or roots to New York. So at a certain moment, the city of New York also becomes a sort of character. And then you are revealing this artistic, cultural scene of New York, which is fantastic because you are giving us a very inside look at that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, about this scene, about the theater scene? Because actually Anna comes back to her 1990s theater group. Please tell us more.
Me?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think it's true. It is a love poem to New York, and it's also a nostalgic love poem to New York because New York is changing so dramatically and through gentrification. And kind of the symbolic meaning of gentrification, I think, is really central to both our perspective on New York in the film, but also kind of the psychological journey Anna's gone through, where she's become kind of a commodification, like she's a product now. And New York is building a kind of luxury product on top of a very vibrant history, and not all is lost, but a lot is. Both Maggie, John, and Kara all had experience in avant-garde performance troupes, and their roots are there, so they really connected. For me, I have no connections to experimental theater, but my roots are avant-garde film and video art, and it's, for me, it was like a journey to be able to revisit my past and wonder, like, where have I gone? A lot of the time I feel kind of gentrified myself. Like, I'm older now, I'm not as radical, I own real estate, like I have a responsible job, all of those things, and there is a point where you have some success, but you're like, wait, am I still me? And so I took those quiet thoughts and made it really extreme in Anna's journey.
I had a feeling at a certain moment that Anna may choose for sort of artistic freedom. I don't know how it's in New York, but in Europe, when you work for TV series, you always dream to get this one big role in a film, because that's, as an actor, you are dreaming to be creative also. Is it the same in New York, and why did she then go back and signed and didn't go with her freedom? Yeah.
Well, it's a complicated question. I mean, I think ultimately she feels like she needs to embrace her life as it is and responsibly see out her contract. In the script, we learn that if she breaks her contract, she won't be able to do anything.
Yeah.
So she would have a hammer come down on her life, and she ultimately decides not to sacrifice that. But I also think in our culture, as an actor, we don't get any support from the state, so we always have to walk this line between things that are commodities that will be remunerative so we can support ourselves, and things that fulfill us artistically. And some people get pulled this way and that way and get lost, So I feel hopeful at the end of the film that she, in time, will perhaps find her way back. But we've talked a lot about how the film is sort of like a first step movie. So there's not a huge catharsis for her. There is for Kate. I think that the Kate character really has this catharsis, but Anna just kind of gets herself a little bit more solid and maybe takes the first step, and that's where the film ends for her. And that feels significant, but it's hard. I mean, for myself and the conversations we had, I wanted more. I wanted, I wanted her to make bigger steps, more freedom.
Yes.
So
you were discussing a lot the end of the film?
Yeah.
It's interesting. So you were bringing your inner thoughts or your experience as actress to this?
Yeah, I mean, I trusted Elisabeth a lot, and but I also, as an actor, I have a very narrative heart. So my narrative heart wants a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in the middle, I want something spectacular and transformative to happen. And this is a more subtle, more meditative story than that.
Yeah.
And I surrendered to it.
Elisabeth, maybe you can tell us something more about two other characters. That's Isaac and Kate. What are they representing?
Well, I want to say one thing about what Maggie was talking about in this idea of a first step movie. I mean, I think probably any festival goers here are familiar with kind of the Sundance Film Festival American model where, a character goes through a journey, realizes something big and changes in 90 minutes. And I was really adamant with this film that there was not going to be, that people don't change that fast. And I was really interested in a story about how hard it is to change.
Yep.
It's really hard to change one's life.
Yes.
And to just radically change one's personality. And I mean, it's hard in the sense, just like Maggie's saying, you want to give audiences that cathartic fantasy, like that, yes, she left and she walked into the sunset. But I really wanted to make a film that felt more true to that people could identify with the struggle.
Yes.
That being said, I really agree with Maggie. Like, I believe that Anna's on her way. And part of what I think is very profound is that she gives this gift to her friend. Like not to get into the story, but she does something very, very generous and insightful at the end of the film, and you can feel a difference in her at the end.
Yes, definitely.
So with the other two characters, I feel like both of them represented really important parts of Anna. One was Anna's heart. Yep. This kind of muse relationship that she had with John, John's character, Isaac, and she's had frustrated romantic relationships, and I feel like a lot of her journey back to New York was what she said, like, what happened with us? Meaning, if I could understand that, I could maybe move on in my life. Like, there's still an attachment there.
Yes, there is.
And in a way, that's true with Kate, too. But there's another thing that Kate brought out something in Anna. And you see when Kate comes over and they rehearse, you see how Anna kind of comes alive and relaxes. And I feel like that she had to go to New York to resolve these relationships, in a way let go of them. But when I ask myself, like, will she see them again? Like the text messages,
Yes.
I know she will see these people again.
They can just kick you out without any warning?
I've been in housing court all month. Didn't know it was gonna happen so fast.
You have to get everything out today?
They're gonna lock me out at 11, and I have to arrange to get the rest of my stuff at the landlord's convenience.
Okay, how can I help?
Those books can go in there.
You can fight this.
I can't afford the legal fees. I can barely afford the rent.
Take my apartment.
I don't want your apartment.
Well, where are you gonna go?
I don't know. Upstate, probably. I'm priced out.
I can lend you some money.
I don't need a bailout.
Why won't you let me help you?
I don't need you to save me or solve me or do anything.
You'll never forgive me, will you?
Oh, fuck you! You fucking left me!
Yeah. I left. In the middle of our show, and it was fucked up. But I was broke. I was scared. And I didn't know I was gonna stay out there for that long. So yes, I am a sellout. I'm pathetic. Kate, you were hard. I didn't know who you were gonna be from day to day, from night to night.
Guys, just please.
Did I ever miss the show?
No.
Did I ever fuck up on stage? You know, you wanted to leave. Our show was always just a stepping stone for you.
That is not true.
It was about you.
Kate.
And to be honest, I don't have time for you right now.
Enough.
And I don't need a fucking intervention.
All right, you know what? For what it's worth, she didn't just fly into town and fly out afterwards. She's the one who made it happen. She got us all together
Isaac?
when none of us had the balls to do it. No! And then she stayed in some shitty motel for several weeks to make sure you were okay. Actually, to make sure that you were not dead. So, enough. Both of you, just give it a rest.
Why are you telling me this right now, of all times?
It's not really yours to tell at all, but that doesn't seem to stop you, does it? Did you know about his script? Oh my God. You helped him write it, didn't you?
She didn't write anything.
Helped a little.
You helped.
I also wanted to explore different journeys of people, lots of people, 3 people going through a kind of midlife crisis. So, you know, and
It was actually very nice to see you have chosen for this realistic approach, which very much helped the psychology of all the characters. It was beautiful to see how they all worked, how it all worked together. These characters, it was fantastic. That was the how do you call it? Was the exciting part of it all, because it's not only Anne that we are following, but this very complex story that is being revealed, and then we are learning about this 90s in New York. Tell us, please, was it, you mentioned in the beginning, it was not so easy to find money for the project, and I saw you with your, you put a lot of effort and enthusiasm. You even did finance the film through Kickstarter. So tell us, why is it so difficult? Why was it so difficult to finance? It's a beautiful story. You have a fantastic cast. I would say, well, go for it.
I mean, it's difficult because it's America. And like Maggie said, there's absolutely no support for independent filmmaking, and which is so ironic since we're the #1 exporter of entertainment in the world, but we don't have any state support. And people are very risk averse in America, and I come from an art background.
Yes.
And so even though I've made films for 20 years, I'm considered a first-time director because I haven't made a feature film. And I also, I mean, I really, really believe there's an intense amount of sexism in the industry. You know, I mean, I've said this before, and it's something my producer first pointed out, but this is the exact same story as Birdman. I'm assuming people know the movie Birdman, and I mean, Birdman is about a burnt-out, successful Hollywood actor who goes to New York and does a play and goes through an existential crisis, and Hollywood is chasing him. It's the same story. But we, you know, we were told that, you know, who wants to hear a story about an actress? Well, people did not have a problem wanting to hear a story about an actor. And also, you know, of the top 250 top grossing films in America in this last year, 6% were directed by women. So I don't know what the statistics are like in Europe. I imagine they're not that different, maybe a little better, but that's
I might hope.
94% of, you know, mainstream cinema is financed by, is directed by men in America.
Well, I've read something about this last year, that there were even some petitions.
The ACLU is investigating Hollywood right now because there's no industry oversight in relationship to hiring practices in Hollywood.
And it was nice. I also read that your entire crew was very nice. You have, like, I don't know how much, but a lot of percentage of women in your crew.
We worked really hard to have a really diverse crew, both in terms of gender and race. And my feedback from actors who have spent a lot more time on sets than I have is that we were successful.
Yeah, it was definitely the most diverse crew I've ever worked on.
Really?
Gender, ethnicity, age. It was just really, it was exciting, and the vibe was so good. It was just really, it was different. Even on the most high pressure days, there was an incredible amount of collaboration and goodwill, and it was different.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you said in the beginning you are feminist. All your also previous work, or a lot of previous work, was dealing with the subject. Your feature-length film, fiction film, is also feministic. What's the next step? You follow your. Are you going to be true? Do you have a new project? If you want to share with us.
Well, I actually came to Rotterdam with a different screenplay for Cinemart, and which is about a bipolar photo archivist who gets swept up in the American.com explosion in the late 90s. But it was a far more expensive film to make, and even though we had really major talent attached, it was ironic because as we were in the process of financing, then the United States stock market crashed again, and we just weren't able to make it. It's also a period piece, it takes place in 2000.
Okay.
So that's why we decided to do this film first, and so my hope is that this will be the second feature. But after that, I want to make a film about a man.
About
a man.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm afraid that we won't have much more time. Maybe last question. What was your most memorable moment during the shooting that you will take away with you?
I'll answer because I'm staring at it on that poster.
I was going to say.
I don't know if anybody spent a lot of time walking on New York City streets, but lying face down on a New York City sidewalk is a memorable experience.
Yeah.
I had a little at one point the makeup lady ran over and gave me a little bottle of alcohol. So every time we did a take, I went over to that little spot and I went on the sidewalk. And but I also really, it was an amazing day because we were shooting. We couldn't really close off the street, and there was a lot of serendipity in terms of getting the shots, and we had an amazing cinematographer, and just throwing myself into this sea of humanity and then surrendering to it in that face down kind of way it's a pretty extreme thing to do, but I enjoyed that day immensely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And you?
It's funny. I literally was thinking the same thing, mostly because I had to make Maggie lie down on the ground. But the whole thing was really memorable. I think we were a very blessed production because it was low budget and it was only 19 days, and it was very, very ambitious in terms of there are a lot of locations.
Yes.
But that day also, we were trying to recreate this famous scene where in Tootsie, where Dustin Hoffman walks down this New York City street, which is a kind of iconic New York movie. And so we had 35 inexperienced extras crisscrossing Maggie, and I wanted her to just disappear. I didn't want her to faint. I didn't want her to stumble. I just wanted it to be like she was gone. And so we were choreographing all of these extras, and it just felt like a beautiful collaboration because Maggie had to look at the monitor and see how we were doing things, and then it was we couldn't wash down the street because then it would look like a fake street. And I gave her a really hard time about not lying down on the street for her art, but the truth is no, who wants to lie down on a street in New York?
I think there are a few magical moments in the film, but this was also one of my favorites. I like the mystery of this scene, and it's beautiful how what you just said, that how she disappears all of a sudden. So it has this scene has as if no meaning, but at the same time a very big meaning. It's beautiful. I think we have to finish our conversation. I would like to thank you for joining us, for bringing the film to Rotterdam Film Festival. I would like to wish you a good luck in the competition. The results will be known on Friday the 5th, so enjoy the Rotterdam Film Festival until now. And for tomorrow, I would like to invite our guests to join us. We are going to see the 5th film in the competition that's also from US, made by Iranian filmmaker Babak Jalali, and it's called Radio Dreams. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. Good evening.